All right, welcome to the Erie Music History Podcast. I am Chip Show, your host, and today we have another bass player, Bill Miller. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Bill's currently playing with Gypsy Heart. Anybody else?
Well, I'm sitting in. I'm filling in for. I just played with Twisted Lid. They needed a bass player, and I'm going to play several gigs in August with the Cows and Ruby Port.
Cool.
Needs a bass player for a couple gigs.
All right.
So I'm learning a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so you're going to play with the Cows at my JPT Center Tuesday night event that I have in August.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
They have several. I wasn't sure what they were, but yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, whenever Ron comes in town, we always have them be one of the guests that we have. You know, we have the Fabulous Leftovers as our house band. It's the first Tuesday of the month, and then they come in, or whoever else comes in each month. So
okay.
Yeah, we're all slated for them in September. So you've got plenty of stuff to work on right now, but we're going to go way back in time and start when you first got interested in all this. Sure. You and I never met until a few minutes ago.
No.
I think our friend Ricky Carr connected us.
Yes, yeah. He's a big supporter of Gypsy Heart. Great guy.
He is a good guy. Yeah, that's a good episode if you haven't listened to that. We established that you're a Corey guy, so is that where you went to school and everything?
Yes. Yeah, I grew up in Corey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Started playing music there?
That's where I started, yeah. I don't know if I was in like 9th grade or something like that.
All right.
And, the guys wanted to start a band because we'd gone out and see the local bands, and that was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you want to do that.
Where could you go in 9th grade to go see bands?
Well, the local thing, the YMCA.
I was going to say, did you have the YMCA
and then
stuff?
There was another place, I can't remember what it was, but they had weekly Friday night dances or something. They'd have, and that was just amazing to me.
Yeah, yeah.
That looked like so much fun. And I guess because ever since I can remember, I was lucky to be born with a ear for music. And so whatever my parents would give me, whether it be those little xylophone things or whatever, I could figure out easily. Mary Had a Little Lamb or whatever. Yeah. And then I just started plucking around with a guitar. But when the guys decided that it was too cool, you got to be in a band. Some guys already played instruments. Other guys picked instruments. The only thing left was bass. And so I said, okay, I'll play bass. And so I got my mother to just charge a bass and an amplifier. It was a Tisco Del Rey bass and a Sears Silvertone bass amp. And I was working at a shoe store, so I was able to make the payments on it. And that was my first rig, And, that was the start of it.
And so you weren't a school band guy?
No.
You weren't in any of that?
Well, actually, after I started to get rather proficient at it, I was still in high school, and we got kind of drafted. Myself and our drummer got drafted into Up With People.
Wow.
And we learned that stuff, but we kind of got fired because we were too rocky.
What year was this?
1967.
Okay.
66 or 67.
Is that when you graduated?
I graduated in 69.
69, okay. From Corey.
A long time ago.
All right. You just had a birthday yesterday.
Yes, I did.
All right. Happy belated. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And so were the Nightcrawlers that first band?
That was the first band.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bunch of Corey guys.
What were the Nightcrawlers playing? What type of music?
Well, whatever the top stuff was on the radio.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have to say it's pop now. I mean, I remember. I don't think the Doors were around, but Beatles.
Sure.
Stuff like that.
Right.
And,
right.
Probably 1910 Fruit Gum Company or whatever. The popular stuff.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Yeah.
And were you a singer too then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And only played that 4-string. Now you play a 5-string. Obviously, you graduated over the years, I imagine, to that. Yeah. But were you guys playing what? the Y's, school dances, stuff like that?
Yeah, we'd play school dances after the games, whether it be football or basketball or whatever. We'd do that, and we did get some odd gigs, like at the Elks Club or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember we played in Clymer in some barn, just
Sure.
wherever you could, you'd play.
Yeah.
I would have played for nothing.
And so you graduate in '69. Do you go to college then?
Yeah, well, actually, I said I've had enough school. Stupid me.
Okay.
So I got a job in a factory. It was the same week I got out of high school. About a year and a half of working it was Corey Jamestown Manufacturing. About a year and a half, I said, maybe I better go to school,
Yeah.
So I ended up going to Williamsport Community College. And at least I learned a good trade, the electrical construction.
Oh, okay. All right.
And, so I did that.
And played during the same time, or?
I don't think I played that much back then.
Okay.
Because I got a job with a local electrician there, and it was when I was ready to head out, and I guess a friend of mine wanted to do a co-op. He was going to be a carpenter. He had a plumber friend. I was going to do the electric. I went down to Nashville. I was only there for 2 weeks to see it wasn't going to work out, and the weather was, oh my God, it was terrible. And so I had another friend with me that had been in Phoenix and had a job at a swimming pool company. He said, well, let me see if I can get my job back and see if they need an electrician. They said, sure. So we threw everything back in the car and went from Nashville, Tennessee to Phoenix.
So that's how you ended up
And
there.
out there is when I started, there was some friends. We had some kind of a blues band thing that we were just messing around.
Yeah.
We never actually played out, but it kept my chops going,
Right. Right.
And then, of course, because I was tinkering with my friend's drums, I ended up playing drums for Ray Gonzalez in the Country Counts.
Greatest name. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was funny because we'd play some bars that any white boy with brains in his head would not go in a bar like that.
Right, right.
But because I was Ray's drummer, I was okay. I mean, I had hair,
Sure. Yep.
down
I've
here
seen those
and everything.
pictures.
Yeah,
With
and,
cowboy hat.
Yeah. And I did that until Tim Tyson, back from here in Erie, at the start of Wave, he called me and asked me if I wanted to come back and play. And because back then the scene was going nuts. They were playing 5-6 nights a week.
They were.
Racetrack was going.
Right.
Everybody was partying every night. And,
Yeah.
and so that's when I came back. I don't know if that was like 70.
Yeah, so you provided me with this awesome list of years and bands, so this is great.
Good.
We skipped the greatest name band ever, the Rubber Band.
Oh,
I mean,
well, that's when we really got serious.
the Nightcrawlers became serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, I think in between there, somehow it turned from Nightcrawlers to Spectrum, but that was very short period.
Yeah.
And then Rubber Band we were pretty popular back in Corey at that time.
Oh,
We
okay.
played a lot. And that's when I got with Tim Tyson. And
because he was down there too.
yeah, he was,
Right.
the Tim Tysons are from
I
Corey.
forgot
yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, as we move into the Wave, and we're going to get to the Snowmen, obviously, but Wave, like you said, was a giant band at the time, or a popular band at the time. They were a big band.
Yeah, top 40
Right.
Wave, yeah.
Were you the first bass player?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they started out, I think it was just Tim and Dan Dingfelder, the keyboard player,
Right.
doing that. And then they got Jeff Tyson singing.
Right.
And then I think they got Ann, and then that's when I think they pulled Mike Dombrowski in on guitar.
Yep.
And it was going so well that Tim called me, because I had been with him, of course, in those other bands
Okay.
previously.
Oh, he was in some of those too.
Yeah.
That's
And-
why I've heard the Rubber Band before. Yeah,
Yes.
I had him on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I packed up my stuff and came back from Phoenix, and boy, that was great.
Playing in Wave.
I mean, yeah, playing in Wave, because the money was great, and I'm staying. Usually we would play the circuit. We would play the Holiday Inn South for 6 weeks. You get free rooms and half price off on food and all that. And then you go from there to the Spartan Inn, which is now Best Western,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
And then down to the Holiday Inn downtown, and we just kind of make a circuit, and 6 weeks at a crack.
That's what I was going to say. 6 weeks at a crack, 4 nights a week, 5 nights?
5 nights a week.
5 nights a week.
Sometimes 6, yeah.
And the time, was it all 10 to 2, or was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Back then, everything was 10 to 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, they would give you rooms and everything. That's
Yeah.
different time.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That was Tim was a good negotiator, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
But we were such a good draw that they didn't complain.
Right.
They made their money.
And did you enjoy playing that type of music?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I guess in the end, I would rather be a little heavier and play the rock, the classic rock, and everything.
Right.
But no, it was good. And you're a musician. You feed off of the people, and man, when they're with you, there's no better feeling. You know. And Wave was a good band, especially when we were 10-piece and we had the horns. Boy, that was big.
And that was early too, right? You had the horns?
Well, we had them, it was. Maybe it wasn't that long after I came back from Phoenix that we picked up the horns.
Okay.
And that was big, yeah.
It amazes me that you started playing bass in 66, let's say, and by 75, you're in Wave. I mean, that's a big difference. I mean, your skills must have really improved over those years. Did you take lessons?
No, at one time, once I was back here in Erie, I took a couple lessons from Basil Ronzetti.
Okay.
And he told me, he said, your ring finger and your little finger are not one finger. That's 2 fingers, And I was trying to do what he was telling me, and I guess it was like the old dog and the new tricks.
Sure.
I just said, I'm getting by the way I play. I should have continued taking lessons, but I didn't. I'm all by ear. I don't know a whole note from a half note. But.
And your only finger is not pick?
No, I use pick.
You use a pick? Okay.
Exclusively.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Every once in a great while, I'll use fingers if it's appropriate for something. But I like the sharp attack of the pick.
Okay.
Plus, I'm much faster with the pick.
Got it.
Some of the passages we play, the arpeggios are really fast.
Sure.
But pick mainly.
So 75, you're still young, like you said. You're in your early 20s. Not married or anything.
Nope.
No. So and did you go on the road with Wave too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was with them until the end of 78. That's when the Snowmen asked me if I wanted to join them.
Yeah, how did that come?
Well, they wanted to go to L.A. and see what they could do.
They were already formed? Mm-hmm. They were already a band?
Yes, yeah. They had been playing for, I don't know if it was a couple years or what, but they started out as Speed Queen.
Right.
And their manager, booking agent, whatever, said, you guys need a gimmick or whatever. So they started painting their faces and stuff, just weird colors. And anyway, he said, you got to define this, And, well, their first bass player, John Erickson, one night showed up with this white fur-like coat-like thing. He says, that's it. You guys got to dress in white and be the Snowmen.
Right.
So they agreed, but John didn't. And he would hide behind the PA or sit out at the soundboard and play bass. But so then, I don't know, he left, and they got Steve Tarr. They called him Bink.
Yeah, right.
What a great bass player, a great singer. And I don't know what happened. I guess he didn't want to go to L.A. or whatever, so they asked me to join.
Right.
And
you knew at that point they wanted to go to L.A., so you were joining this band.
Yes. In fact, when Kevin Deaver, the guitar player from Snowmen, came up to me the first time and talked to me, he said, so what are you going to be doing? I said, well, I'm getting a little tired of what I'm doing. I'm thinking, actually it was odd because I said, I'm thinking of packing up and heading out to L.A. and see what I can do. And I really was. And he says, well, we're going to go to L.A. He says, you want to go with us? And I said, well, yeah. He said, well, you'd have to shave your beard. And I said, you got a razor?
Did you know those guys? How did you know those guys?
Well, they were practicing in Altadonna's basement.
Okay.
And we were playing there, so we were back and forth,
Got
and I didn't know them,
And you had you seen Speed Queen before? Or?
I hadn't seen Speed Queen, but one night, Tommy Altadonna came to us as Wave and said, we want to try this novelty act. This one, I don't know, it was during the week. I don't know if it was a Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. And we said, yeah, go ahead. It said they're called the Snowmen. And I looked at this poster and I said, I got to see this. I went in there and they blew me away.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever see the Snowmen?
No.
Oh, my gosh. I'm telling you what, the musicianship and the makeup worked, and the show was amazing with the lighting and everything. It was great. And so when he asked me to join me, I said, sure.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, it's what I want to do.
Wow. Okay.
Their whole first set was Aerosmith and
so did they have originals at that point?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. We started working on those almost immediately when I joined the band, and worked on them for about a year. And we left at the very beginning of 1980 for L.A.
Okay, all right.
Actually, in hindsight, we should have stayed another year here and worked on it, because we really didn't have a grip on the original stuff.
Got it.
And I think we would have had a better shot if we'd have went out more prepared.
Well, like I said, when we first met, Steve McConnell's episode has been one of the most popular ones, but it was a few years ago. So bring everybody up to speed. Remind us how it went. 1980, you guys get in a van and travel. I mean, how did you even get out
we
there?
had a truck for equipment.
Yeah.
And then Kevin's girlfriend had a car, and I think everybody between the car and the big truck that we took our equipment in, I think we all crammed in there.
Okay.
And we had sent somebody out ahead of us to scope out and find a house for us to rent. So we had a place to go to when we got there.
Right.
And we didn't have a gig or anything like that. We just went around and showed. I can't remember what we had. I don't know if we had recorded music or what, but we showed them what we had, and we said, we'll play for scale or whatever just to show you what we got. And so we got hired, and that's all it took. One gig and bang.
They saw.
And we didn't have any trouble getting gigs after that.
Because you had your sound man, your road crew with you also.
Yes.
That's important. So Bruce Shampoo part of that? Or who?
Bruce Shampoo was, he was lighting.
Right.
Actually, back here, Bruce Whitford was the effects man.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to go, and so Bob Ellis went with us. And, of course, our sound man now in Gypsy Heart was the sound man, Phil Thomas.
Phil Thomas was?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I didn't realize that. Yeah.
So, that was, we were all self-contained.
Yeah. And
what was amazing is, when you think about going out to L.A. and going out to the clubs, you think, oh, I'm going to be shown what it's all about. They were tuning up in between songs and what do you want to play next and all that. We were spit and polished.
Yeah, right.
We segued. We didn't have any dead air.
Interesting.
Everything was planned out, and I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I want to say we actually changed the club scene out there, because they were playing 5 sets with short breaks.
Oh.
And we said we play 3 sets, 3 one-hour sets with half-hour break in between.
Right.
We got to have a dressing room, and if it's chilly, we got to have it heated. We get a case of beer, we get this much pop, we get a bottle of this or whatever, and that was part of our contract, and all the clubs started doing that. Not necessarily the amenities,
sure, right,
but the scheduling. They started having their bands. I don't know if they held the people better that way or what.
Right,
but
5 sets. And
that was crazy.
People would leave.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But like I say, I didn't see any bands that blew me away.
What were some of the places that you played? Or are they still around?
Well, the Whisky and Starwood are, and
there
then
you go.
Wolf and Rissmiller's Country Club and the Golden Bear. Boy. We were playing at a place in Yorba Linda, it's a little north of L.A., and on our breaks, Howie Mandel was the
guy in between.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And nobody knew who he was at that point. Yeah.
No, and he had hair then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And you're all living in the house together, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, this is...
It's a big house.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah.
I wondered how that went. Like, you get tired of everybody because you know?
Well,
you see everybody.
Somebody's
all
going to
the
rub
time.
somebody the wrong way.
Sure.
You know that
Right.
happens. I mean, even in your family, that
Right.
Yeah.
No girlfriend at the time.
No.
Okay. And I remember Steve saying it was meager living. It was
Yeah. We bought the cheapest beer we could find.
Right,
and,
right.
Swill.
mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the girl that went with us, Kevin's girlfriend, Lynn Stone, she took care of all of the cosmetics and the outfits and all that. And she actually made a lot of our outfits. She was a seamstress also. And she was a good cook too.
Huh. Okay.
So we'd throw stuff together. Yeah.
The pictures that you showed me, you were distinguishing between the pre-LA and then at LA, the hair.
Yeah.
So you had the round wigs in Erie.
Yeah, kind of the clown wigs. Yeah. They started out. That was before I joined them, but I was here in Erie with them for a year before we left, and that was different when we got out there and decided to go with I don't know. I thought the newer wigs were cooler. They, like the Gino Vanelli.
Right. Yeah, you look like Gino Vanelli's albino brother. Yeah. Gotcha. So we've got you, Steve, Deaver,
and Dale Chadwick.
Dale Chadwick's the singer, right?
Singer, guitar player.
Yeah.
We all sang, actually.
Okay.
Even Steve came out.
Steve?
And sang. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He wasn't a really good singer, but he was great.
Showman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was crazy. He would run across the bar and knock people's drinks over. They didn't care. They were applauding and knocking tables. I think he broke a Tiffany at this one place we played, and they didn't care.
Wow. When he would leave the drums, would you play drums? Who played drums?
No, Dale Chadwick did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because
Gotcha.
we could get by on some songs with just bass and guitar and drums.
Because,
one guitar.
like we were talking earlier, you had a little stint as a drummer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, not in that band, no.
Okay. All right.
No.
And have you ever played drums since?
No, I haven't.
No? Okay. No desire to.
No, I guess I wouldn't because I'm not up to speed now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I do love to put the headphones on, sit and just bang on.
Do you?
You know?
Okay. So Snowmen last out in L.A. for how long?
4 years.
Okay.
We were out there 80, 81, 82, 83. I came back in 83.
Did everybody come back?
Yeah. No.
No?
By then, things were starting to fall apart, and I had got married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Someone out there that you met, or
no,
Okay.
from back here, and then I had a child, and I don't know. I guess for Dale, I don't know if that was too much or whatever, but they decided they were going to replace me. So I said, okay, and so I came back, and they got a bass player to replace me, but Steve said, Bill, when you left, the whole thing fell apart. Dale stopped wearing makeup. He'd show up. He'd put the wig on, but he wouldn't. And it just all went downhill. I think that the stress of trying to make it
Sure.
and not really making a lot of headway. I mean, we made a big splash in L.A., but we just didn't, take off. And I think that just finally wore it down.
So the album, did you record it out there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many of those did you press? Do you remember?
Boy, I don't even know, to be honest with you, Dan. I don't know.
No?
No, I don't.
And like we were talking earlier, I said I have one of those, but I didn't know if I had the white vinyl, and it's also the black vinyl too. Do people come up to you, even in Gypsy Heart, and say, I remember from Snowmen, I have the album, that type of stuff?
Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, I've got that album.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And you're in the video, or the videos? Is there just one video?
Well, there are some, on YouTube, there's videos of us playing somewhere, but the one we did, that was shown on MTV, we actually went into the studio and they took the song and somebody wrote, scenes for it,
plotted it out,
Yeah, and I just happened to be the one that wrote the song and was singing, so that's me.
Okay, all right.
People don't believe it when they see it, but that's me.
I can't remember what Steve told me about that whole experience, but I remember there were some funny things that happened during that shoot.
Well, I thought they'd get a hot girl, to be the love interest or whatever.
Sure.
And she came in, and I don't know, I had a bigger chest than she did. But anyway, at one point in the song, she's backing up, and there's supposed to be hands almost going to her breasts or whatever, And I said, I'm not doing that,
Yeah.
It's not that I'm a prude, but I said, no, I'm not doing that. So anyway, Steve said, I'll do it.
That's right.
So that's Steve in there.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. Steve was crazy.
He was up for, that's why he was Animal at the time,
Yeah,
right?
he was Animal. Yeah.
So you come back, you've got a kid, you're married now.
Yeah.
What happens? You go to work as an electrician?
Yeah. I got a job working electrical, and I think the first thing that happened, I get mixed up whether it was, I'm pretty sure it was Easy. They were reforming, and their bass player didn't want to do it, so they asked me to do it.
So you got night shift on here for 1 year.
Well, that
like
might have been after Easy.
Oh, okay, all right.
Like I say, those are approximates and whatnot.
Yeah,
but I think the first thing I did after I'd been back just a short while is they asked me if I would do that. So Carl and
Mark
and Dan. Boy, you have to excuse me.
Oh man, I mean, I've heard this so many times too. I should know these guys' names off the top of my head. But
Danny, he was from Titusville, I think.
Okay, all right.
Anyway,
and they had been around and established, and they were popular. Yeah. They were like a southern rock
and they
band.
they dissolved or whatever. Well, then they decided to go again, and that's when I joined them.
Okay,
and we were going pretty good. And
who was their bass player before?
Pardon me?
Who was their bass player before?
Ronnie Pierce.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
I don't know if he's from Waterford, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we revived that, and that went good. And there was a little issue, and that fell apart. And that's when I think I did the night shift thing.
Okay, gotcha.
And I honestly don't remember how long that went, if it was a year or two or what it was.
Who was in night shift?
Well,
I've heard the name.
Rick Krasinski,
Carl.
Right. Was Bruce Bennett in that or not? Yeah. I'm trying to remember if Bruce was in that.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of guys that I've had on or I know of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't remember why that dissolved or if it was just because one night when Rhythm Method was playing, of course, I knew Steve, and
Steve McConnell.
Yeah, and I knew Mark. Their original bass player singer, Kenny Campbell, he got laryngitis. So Steve called me and said, hey, you think you and Mark can fill in so we can do the gig? And we said, sure. Well, we did it, and the chemistry was so good.
Yeah.
They said, well, we want you to be the bass player. I said, well, what are you going to do with Kenny? He said, well, he can just sing. Well, he didn't want to just sing. He wanted to play bass.
Got it.
And so they wanted me to play bass. I said, you guys decide. I'm not going to, So I ended up playing bass, and Mark came in. So that was...
Kenny left.
And Kenny left, yeah. And that's when Rhythm Method, we really got going. And boy...
And Keith was already in the band, and
Keith, he wasn't in the original.
Oh, wasn't he?
No, okay. I think maybe Bruce decided to quit, and I think that's when Keith came in.
Gotcha. Right.
Yeah, and
yeah, you have Rhythm Method on here, 86 to 90. I mean, you guys were one of the most popular bands around.
We did well.
Yeah, I mean, you played. Were you there the last day of the PI? Was that you guys?
Yes.
You?
Yeah. In the short shorts.
Absolutely. I've seen those pictures. I was probably in the crowd somewhere in short shorts.
That was a great day. That was really fun.
That's one of those days that musicians, as well as people who were there, they remember that.
It was such a fabulous day, but at the same time it was sad because we were losing that.
Sure.
That was the premium place in Erie at the time.
It really was.
That was super. That was so sad when they closed that down.
There were cars parked up to 6th Street.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
So did Donnie Iris go on after you guys?
Yes.
Okay. So did you stick around?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because
I remember it was a bitch getting out of there.
Oh,
and,
it was.
You know.
It was, yeah. God, I'm trying to remember if we actually played Aaliyah.
Oh, really?
We said, we can't do that.
Did you know Marty Lee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Marty had sat in with Rhythm Method.
Okay. All right.
I think a few times.
Cool. Yeah.
I remember there was one Halloween that he did.
Any memorable, weird, crazy gigs from that time period?
Oh, many. Many. I mean, we would... I think everybody's mellowed out,
Sure.
And we were even more serious now. I don't have a beer or anything until I'm done playing.
Okay.
Sometimes maybe on the last break I figure, okay, I can't get buzzed before the end of the last set.
Right.
And everybody's pretty much that way. And, it just, you think you can play good drunk,
But back then,
yeah,
that was not the rule.
right.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So back then we would party up.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember the French Quarter, of course.
Sure.
Oh my God, we would close it. We'd leave at daybreak.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. So Rhythm Method, PI, you're playing French Quarter, you're playing Sherlock's.
Yeah.
Did you travel around or no?
We did one thing. It was called the prom tour. During prom season, we headed down and around Pittsburgh and played a few different proms.
Wow.
But other than that, we really didn't travel a lot.
Okay.
I think, maybe an hour away on something. But
Yeah.
No, we were plenty busy.
Yeah.
In Erie.
Yeah. I wondered about that. I mean, I think I saw you. I'm sure I saw you at the Rook, back in the day. And,
Yeah.
Where else? Like I said, Sherlock's.
Well, there was some bars that, I'm trying to think of. I don't know if we played at the Hullabaloo or whatever that was at the time.
The Alternative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know there was a place down on 26th Street out towards 79. I know there was a place. I can't,
MJ's.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah. It's an antique shop now.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, I think we played there.
Yeah. Well, where was Altadonna's? That wasn't
Altadonna's was on 9th Street.
Oh, 9th. Okay. In that
West 9th. Yeah, in a little plaza-like thing. It was, you had to go downstairs into it.
Became like the emergency room. And
yeah,
a bunch
Banks
of other
Money.
Banks Money.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I played there with Wave first, but then, of course, when I joined the Snowmen, we played because when they asked Wave to not play and let the Snowmen play, Tommy said, yeah, we'll hire these guys.
Yeah.
So,
any of those places, I always ask this question, what were your favorites back then you missed as far as venues?
well, as far as Rhythm Method, almost our home club was French Quarter. I mean, we'd play there, and you'd have to have a shoehorn to get in there, and it was just,
I remember.
just seemed to be the place, for us. But, yeah.
Goofies, ever play there?
I think we did.
Yeah. I feel like
I get mixed up, between Easy and Rhythm Method. And all that,
Yeah, and I don't mean just in Rhythm Method. In any of those bands that you were in, are there any venues, that you miss? I mean, a lot of them aren't here anymore.
Yeah, well, when I was in Wave, of course, Best Western, it was then the Spartan Inn then.
Yeah.
That was a great place to
Was
play. I mean, we lived right there anyway, and we'd play, always got a great crowd, very responsive, and when we were done, okay, everybody out, lock the doors, okay, fire up the grill, throw the steaks on, bars open, and
cool.
Just party.
I thought you'd go across the street to the Green Shingle.
No, well, sometimes we'd do that, but that was a fun place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These bands that you've been in over the years. Obviously the ones that we've mentioned so far: Snowmen, Easy, Rhythm Method. As we get into Character and some of the other ones, I mean, these are hard rock bands.
Yeah. Classic rock, hard rock.
Classic rock, hard rock, and clearly that's what you like to play.
I do like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not only that. like I said, I'm going to be playing with the Cows.
Right.
And one of the songs that I've spent a lot of time on because I knew I would have to is MacArthur Park.
That is a crazy song that they do, and they do it very well.
Yeah.
And when Dickie told me the first time that they do that, I thought he was joking.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Well, of course, Ronnie, with them being three-piece, Ronnie was playing bass with his left hand. So when I sat in with him and he felt the relief of not having to do that he could just go ahead and play the keyboards. He said, well, will you play with us, I said, sure, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I said, at the time, first time I sat in, I said, I'm not playing MacArthur Park, not without going over it. I've gone over it now. I'm ready for it.
So does he let you play the bass part in I'm Your Captain, or does he still do it with his...
No, I play it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because...
Yeah. Well, because our band does it.
Yeah.
I'm used to it.
Yeah, we do it too, and that's why I figured he's...
Okay.
But he's used to doing that. I've seen him do it, as a three-piece.
No, I think he would rather not.
Yeah, okay.
Tie up his left hand doing that. And
right.
Although he's very proficient at it,
very proficient at everything.
That really blows me away, how you can split your brain, do that with one hand, and then rhythm on the other hand.
And having pedals too, and whatever else,
Yeah, that fascinates me.
All right, so... Rhythm Method goes to 90. I always tell people my podcast goes up to 90, but people like you continue to play, and I always like to mention those. You were in character for a while, it says.
Yeah, I can't tell you how long, but Steve McConnell and I were in. That was when, after Rhythm Method, Robin Burek.
Sure, right. Yeah, I was going to say, so this is your first band back since the Wave that you're playing with a female singer.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that, you obviously continued to play with female singers over the years. Do you prefer one or the other? Or?
Well, that really gives you a lot more leeway to pick songs, because there's certain songs, I'm sorry, if you don't have a girl, you're not going to do that song.
Right.
And so that opens it up, and I've just been fortunate enough to work with some good female singers,
Yeah.
So in fact, I've been very fortunate to be in great bands and work with very good musicians. I've been lucky. Yeah,
you've got some great, all these bands, aside from like maybe Night Shift, maybe a year, or not a lot of people know the Rubber Band, but well, you were young.
My people down in Corey know it.
That's right, absolutely. So character you play with, and then you form Blonde Faith. I've got the picture here. These are some of the best musicians around. You've got Scott Kuhn, you've got Mark Gorzicki, yourself, Emily Fote, Tim Tyson, and then of course the young guy in the band,
Eric Brewer.
He was probably newer on the scene at the time.
He was very new on the scene. Yeah.
So he and Gorzicki going back and forth must have been great.
Yeah.
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 And so did Tim just sing, or did he play congas or keys?
He's a drummer.
Oh, that's right. I always forget
and
Tim's
he's a very good drummer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and you are looking mean in this picture. Yeah.
Oh, I was, everybody said, what's up with you, Bill? I said, well, like I said, I was like probably 45 pounds heavier than I am.
You look bigger. So, yeah. Well, you all look like
I might have been grumpy at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that was 2009 to 2011.
Somewhere around there, yeah, 2000, yeah.
What happened to that band?
Well, I don't know. I remember we were having trouble because Tim had left, and we were having trouble finding drummers. And I to be honest with you, Dan, I just don't know.
Yeah.
It just fell apart.
Was that?
And certainly not because of Emily or the other people in the band. Paul Kaharski was playing guitar in the band, I think, along with Mark. But I felt like it was a pretty good band, and I honestly can't tell you what happened to that, Dan.
Was that Emily's first band?
I'm sorry?
That was her first band that she was in? Or, she went on to be in Stiletto, and she's in
Cherry
Bomb now.
I think before that or during that, she was doing something with Boyd
Baker.
Yeah, Boyd Baker and Mark, and they actually recorded some stuff.
I have that CD. Yeah.
Okay.
Boyd gave it to me. You're right.
And I was saying, well, we should do something. We should do a band.
Yeah.
And so that's, and of course, her being blonde, that's how it turned into Blonde Faith.
It's easy. Yeah. Easy name. And so you still play with a blonde. How did Gypsy Heart come about?
Well, actually, that was another Mark Gorsicki. He wasn't in a band, and I don't know how he knew, but he must have known that Dinah could sing because he got a hold of her and asked her if she wanted to do a duo with him.
Right.
And her husband of 15, 20 years said, "You can sing?" He didn't even know. So anyway, they started a duo, and then I think they got on bass and keys, Mike, help me. He plays with Jack.
Mike Lotz.
Mike Lotz, yeah.
Right.
And then they got Sonny playing drums. He was just supposed to fill in, and they said, once they heard him play, they said, will you join the band?
Sure.
And he wasn't doing anything, apparently, so he said yes.
And Sonny's the one that's played in Hawaii for...
He played in Hawaii for Don Ho and Jim Neighbors and other notable people.
Yeah.
Plus, he did some symphony stuff, big stuff.
Maybe I need to have Sonny on.
You should.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he's one of the best drummers I ever worked with.
That's what everybody says.
He charts everything.
Oh, he does.
And so when we do some of that Led Zeppelin stuff, he's playing that beat for beat. Wow. Yeah.
So that's John Bonham. That's not different.
Yeah.
Not easy stuff.
Yeah, and you set your watch to him too.
And so who else is in the band? We're missing somebody, aren't we?
Well, at that time, like I said, I went to see them. They were playing at South Erie, I think.
Oh, okay.
And, Mark came over to say hi or whatever, and I said, I see potential here. I said, Dinah's got a voice. She was only into it like a year by then. She'd only been singing professionally.
Wow.
And I said, I see potential with this and everything. I said, why don't you have me come up and play bass and just have Mike go over and play keyboards? Well, somehow or other, it was I joined the band and Mike was out. And I said, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant, but that's what happened.
Right.
And then over time, we had, I think we picked up Scott Kuhn, and we wanted to get another guitar player, and I think, then the COVID thing happened, and Scott, I call him Spot, but anyway, Scott, he left the band.
Yeah.
And so that's when, we got Jimmy Cuneo playing keyboards.
Right.
Great keyboard player.
Fun dude,
great
yeah.
Great guy,
He's a great
too.
guy, yeah.
And so we went that way for a while, and then we were advertising for a guitar player. And, persistence personified. Mike Camp just kept showing up with his guitar and his amplifier, and he was learning our stuff, and he wasn't sure he was going to be in a band, but we'd say, okay, get up and show us what you got, And
Interesting.
then eventually it was like, hey, this is working.
Yeah.
So he came in, and oddly enough, it wasn't too long after that, Mark, he just needed a rest.
Mark Gorsicki,
he needed to leave.
Yep.
And so it went that way for a little while. And then...
so you only played with one guitar player?
Yes.
Okay, right.
For quite a while. And a lot of this, we like to do the stuff verbatim, I'm fortunate to be with these people that we're all of the same mind. If you're going to be a copy band, be a good one.
Got it.
Learn the stuff the way it is.
Right.
And so everybody looks at it that way. And we played at a yacht club, and it just happened to be Dave Krasinski's where he keeps his boat.
Yeah.
Well, he saw us, and he came up to talk and everything like that. You guys are pretty good or whatever. And I said, well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I said, you want to join the band? And yeah, he was interested. So.
And he hadn't been playing.
He hadn't.
In
fact,
the Bedrocks.
He wasn't going to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if what was their band called?
Not the
Joe Rockhead.
Oh, Joe Rockhead. You're right. Oh, they were great.
They were very good.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
That's right.
But anyway, he wasn't going to play again after that. He had enough of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He when he saw what we were doing, he liked it, and after a couple rehearsals, the personalities mixed well, And it's turned out great. He bumped us up a notch. For
I was going to say, he's one of those guys that can play it lick for lick. You know, I mean, exactly like it needs to be.
And he'll sit down in the studio for a couple of weeks working on one passage.
Yeah,
just to get it right.
Yeah, because Joe Rockhead was doing a lot of prog rock, and they were doing complicated stuff. You know, Yes, Kansas. A lot of Kansas. I know they love that.
Yeah,
and so I mean. Yeah, he's a good player.
Great addition.
Still a fireman?
No, he retired.
He retired?
Yes,
okay.
He retired.
Yeah. A funny story about him. The first time I met him, I was playing a gig at one of his Christmas parties for maybe his wife, and it was at a club, yacht club. You know, all these people dressed real nice, and here I am up there with my partner. We're just playing half-ass cover tunes, as background music. And I see this dude right in front of me at this table. Everybody else is talking, and this dude is just glaring at me. And I'm like, holy shit, that's Dave Krasinski. And I think I may have stopped in the middle of the song. And I walked over and I said, hey, man, I know who you are. I'm really sorry for all this. And he was super cool, And he's like, no, you're fine. But he was super cool. I remember that.
He's pretty easy going.
Yeah. All right, so that's where you are today. Gypsy Heart, 2 questions. Where did the nickname Curly come from?
Well, Jerry Jeff Walker. You know who that?
I've heard the name.
Okay, country stuff. Well, there's a song in there. I forget the name of the song, but anyway, the name of the person is Curly.
Okay.
Well, back in the Wave days, Jeff Tyson and I used to listen to Jerry Jeff Walker, and so we ended up, I don't know if I called him Curly first or he called me, but now we refer to each other as Curly.
Okay, because you don't have curly hair. Yeah,
no, right. I don't. It's very straight.
And then the hat.
Yeah.
You've been wearing the hat for a while.
Well, I am mostly Scottish, and so that fits in that. But
is that what it is?
My hair's getting a little thin,
Got it.
I just, and actually I feel kind of bad up there with this big gray.
Why?
Well, I don't know, because, I don't know if it turns off the younger people or whatever, but I think,
Younger people aren't coming to hear the music that you're playing.
Yeah. Now they're coming to hear Dinah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, this was perfect. You got to sit in with the Twisted Lid. You're going to play with the Cows. Ruby Port, do you have some gigs coming up? You're filling?
I got a couple of them, yeah.
Oh, cool.
The end of next month.
All right.
I don't know if one's Nova Aurora, and one is, there's a new place out in Waterford.
Out in Waterford?
Port Farms.
Oh, Port Farms. Yeah, I've played there. Yeah, it's great.
You've been out there?
Yeah, it's called Poverty Knob.
Yes.
Yeah, anybody listening, you got to go check this place out. It's fantastic. They put a ton of money into it.
Okay, well, Gypsy Heart, we got booked there. Yeah. That's coming up. I think it's a Wednesday night.
Yeah, they're having an outdoor music series at the stage outside. They have like a natural amphitheater.
Oh.
And then they also have an inside where little duos like I play and stuff too, inside the actual Poverty Knob building and stuff.
Okay.
Super nice place,
well,
man. Totally worth it.
Look forward to going out there.
Yeah. So you're playing there with Ruby Port.
I'm playing with Gypsy Heart there, and I'm playing with Ruby Port there, yeah.
Is Bob just on vacation or something during those times? That's why you're filling in for him?
He's got another band, I guess, and he was already booked before these gigs came up.
Yeah, he plays in Mambo and somebody else. Yeah.
And so I said, what the heck.
Cool.
I like that. I've been friends with Dickie a long time, and Joey and I are good friends.
Good, yeah.
And
great guys.
And I'm not one of those people that I got to go practice. I don't. I like practicing. I like the challenge, especially like I said. The MacArthur Park thing. You don't just learn that in a day or two.
No.
I've been working on that, and I like that challenge.
Yeah.
And I feel good when I get it down.
Yeah, it's great.
So I learned Twisted Lid stuff, and I've been working on Cows and And of course, some of their set list mingles between Cows and Ruby Port. So,
right.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
So
because Dickie plays in both, and
yeah,
got it. Well, this was great. I appreciate you coming in, and
I'm honored for you to have me here.
This was fun. I hope we covered everything.
Well, I think we did. We left out the sorted stuff, which is good.
All right. Well, good. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me, Dan. I appreciate it.
All right. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of the Erie Music History Podcast. I want to say thanks to the JPT Foundation. They have been a financial supporter of the podcast since the beginning, and they also give us a free space to have our monthly music night on the first Tuesday of the month. It always features our great house band, the Fabulous Leftovers, as well as a lot of other local bands and musicians. But it's a lot of fun. First Tuesday of the month, totally free. Any donations go to the Second Harvest Food Bank. It is BYOB. There's a great pizza shop next door, Pasalinquas. Check that out, the first Tuesday of the month. Also, make sure that you check out Jack Stevenson's Two-Man Happy Hour podcast. Basically tells you where people are playing today, where and when, and you can check that out at the number 2manhappyhour.com. All right, that's all I got for you. Thanks again for listening.